Okay, so let's start. Hello, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Claudine Umuhire Gasana. I am an immigration attorney. I'm based in Houston, Texas. I am a licensed attorney and I represent clients in immigration matters throughout the states, all 50 states, even internationally, because as we know, sometimes immigration does not begin here. So sometimes you may be in your country and you need immigration services to come to the United States. We do represent you as well. Okay. So today, before I dive into the subject matter, which is new resources, today I'm not going to talk much. I'm going to share my screen and we are going to explore. So the STEM, I have talked about STEM subject or STEM fields, or yeah, science, technology, engineering, and math fields in my past videos. Please go back and check if you don't know what is a STEM stands for and what are the fields. I even posted on how they added new fields. I believe it was 32 new fields or more. I don't recall. Just go back and watch that video and come back later. No, stay here first. Watch this and then go refresh yourself on the STEM fields. So, but before we get to the STEM fields, I wanted to give you an update. As you know, there's always these new updates every day. So, and there's always more, but the main updates I wanted to provide you is the United States Supreme Court has actually blocked the emergency request by the Biden administration to continue the policy of prioritizing who is going to be deported. I came on last few weeks, talking about the prosecutorial discretion policy. So that policy is no longer, it has been blocked even by the US Supreme Court until the matter is heard on merits, and that's going to be in November. So I don't know if this is a sign that this prosecutorial discretion is no longer going to be in effect, since they blocked the emergency, request to continue using this policy until the case is decided upon in November by the US Supreme Court. So those who don't remember or who don't know what is the prosecutorial discretion, in simple words, is that if you had a case or if you are in removal proceedings and you don't post any public security or like national security issue, or you were not, and you don't have certain criminal records, and you are not an arriving alien, you do not arrive recently, then if you have a case in court, you may be eligible for dismissal or for other relief, or instead of staying or having your case staying in court. That was the prosecutorial discretion memo or policy that has been, we were excited about for the most part, but sometimes it wasn't even good, depending on, it was good for the most part, but sometimes it would not have been beneficial for all people, but in general, it would have been beneficial for most people. Instead of having their cases continue pending in courts, then they would have been case closed in courts, so they can pursue other options, other immigration benefits outside of the court. So that was the prosecutorial discretion. So for now, it's no longer existing, or it's no longer valid. Anyway, at least for arguing the priorities. However, though, the prosecutorial discretion itself is still existing. So the Department of Homeland Security or the U.S. government can always, exercise discretion, because it's in the executive branch to exercise discretion, but they're not going to base the discretion on those priorities set up in the prosecutorial discretion. So that's one update. The next update is ICE, Immigration Customs enforcement is going to issue an ID. Maybe pay attention if you did not pay attention to the PD. So the migrant card, ID card. So the migrant ID card might sound nice, but I don't know. I always like to think into, okay, why is this? Why are they doing this? Why are they why is this card? So basically, the migrant ID card is going to be a one-stop shop for migrants' files. Basically, you're going to have an ID. It's going to have a QR code, and anywhere you go, they can just scan the QR code and find out about your immigration status, your immigration file. So that's one other news today, that ICE is preparing to issue all these migrants that are coming through an ID card that may be used for travel. The TSA, the transportation, the agency will accept that for travel. So that's the good news about it. You can use it to travel around the US. But also it might be a good thing, because if somebody, what I fear, if any authority, any enforcement officer gets a hold of you, they can just scan your QR code and be able to find out all your immigration files. So anyway, you can take it for what it's worth. So that's coming. So another good news, or some other news, which is good news, no bad news around that, is that the USCIS has extended the period to respond to the request, like RFEs, notice of intent to deny, motion to reopen, has extended for another until October 2023. So if you have a request issued during that time of COVID until today, and you in addition to the time allowed to respond to that request, you'll be added another 60 days. So that continues. That's good news, because it gives you more time to respond to a request from the USCIS if you have a pending case and they have issued some type of additional evidence request. Okay, now let me, so those were the news. So let me go into, let me share my screen. I'm going to go into, okay, let me share. Then I'm gonna go here. I'm going to go here. Okay. That's what I'm going to share with you today. All right. So yesterday, is it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I think you guys are seeing this, right? So let me check on Facebook to see. Okay, no changes. Okay, let's see. Let's see if you can see this. Yeah, you can see it. All right. So let me see how I can. Maybe. All right. So yesterday, the USCIS, as you can see, is U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, issued a notification that there will be, some resources to let you know, okay, here are the immigrant pathways for STEM employment in the United States. Okay, so STEM, we already talked about it, is those who have come or who have, and I have to tell you this, to be a STEM, it doesn't mean you have to have the degree in the United States. It could be outside of the US, as long as you are in science, technology, engineering, and math. So if you have those, and in general, when they're talking about STEM employment or STEM skills, you need to have at least a bachelor's degree. And in my opinion, you need to have to have more chances maybe to have, if you have a bachelor's degree, you have to have experience, right? You have to have experience, or you have to have done some type of research, or you have to have done some type of findings or discovery in your field that gives you skills that you can come and sell, literally, to the United States and get a pathway to an immigrant. Immigrant meaning to come here and get a green card or permanent residency, all right? So that's what I wanted to talk about. So a bachelor's degree with some substantial, work you've done in your field, or a master's degree with substantial work you have done in your field. And most of the time, if you have a PhD, I mean, that's even amazing. Most of the time, when you have a PhD, it means you have already done research, have done some work in your field. You have achieved a level of expertise and acclaim, and you stand out in your field. So now let's see the pathway together, right? So I'm not gonna go over this whole thing. So here are the pathway to immigrate. So immigrate, that means to get a green card. So that's what people tend to think, that, okay, you have to come study and then get a work visa and then immigrate in the United States. That's a myth. I tell you by experience, I hear people who have never set, well, maybe they have set foot in the United States, but not to work. They have just maybe come to visit, they have done studies, or, and then they are able to come and bring those skills here through one of these immigrant pathways. Okay, so there's the EB1A, extraordinary ability. Okay, let's see. There you go. So what is EB1A? So this is for people who have extraordinary ability in the sciences, arts, education, business, or athletic. They can self-petition. I really wanted to emphasize on self-petition, right? So that means you don't need a sponsor. You don't need a family sponsor. You don't need an employer's sponsor. You don't need a job offer. You just need to have extraordinary ability in the arts, science, education, business, or athletics, and you'll be able to enter in the US as an immigrant, as a green card holder, as a permanent resident, 10-year green card grant, given to you, or at the entry of the United States, once you have established that you qualify under this category. So, and you may wonder, so how do I show extraordinary ability? Because that sounds like extraordinary. Like you have to be extraordinary. Like you have to be maybe coming from, I don't know, Mars or something. No, that's not the case, right? So there are people who are extraordinary, meaning they have won some awards and prizes for their work, for their accomplishment, achievements, right? Like Nobel Prize winners, or Academy winners, and we know there are only few in that area. And this visa was not only created for those people. So they say if you don't have that extra ability, extraordinary award, or something to show extraordinary ability, okay, then you have to show us at least 3 among these 8. I think it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it's 10, right? Okay, so let's see. 3, you have to show 3 out of the 10 for the EB1A category. You have received a lesser nationally or internationally recognized prize or awards of excellence in your field, right? So you don't have a Nobel Prize, you don't have a whatever prize, all those big prizes or awards, but you have received some type of prize. You have received a grant that's very competitive, in your study. You have received a scholarship that's very competitive. You have received that's like prize, right? What is a prize? You have to define prize. You have received an award in your work, in your field, in your association of your engineers. You have, so okay, that's number 1. if you don't have that, okay, do you hold membership in association that requires outstanding achievements of its members is judged by recognized national and international experts. So there are these associations, especially if you are an engineer, for example, to become a member of IEEE is not anyone who can become a member, for example. And then that's an example. You become a member or a board member, or, you know, like memberships have stages. So there's a membership, like for example, now I'm a member of Texas bar because I passed the bar, or a member of the New York bar, or a member of Immigration Lawyers Association, right? Because okay, I'm an attorney and I practice immigration, and I pay the subscription fee. That might not be necessarily sufficient, because, you know, anybody who's an attorney, but then okay, what does it take to become an attorney, right? So there's always room for argument, room for support. But then if there is among that association, there's, you know, you are called to be a committee member, or you have called to teach others, because, you know, you are giving a what is it, continuing education. Like, you know, sometimes I'm called to give a continuing legal education. That means, okay, now I'm not only one attorney, a member of AILA. I have been recognized as an expert enough to give others some type of education in my field. All right. So and then let's say you don't have that, you have published material in professional major journal or about your work. So, and this does not mean your name has to show, but it says there's a published material in a major publication about you that relates to your work, right? Or you have participated on a panel of individually a judge of others, or you have made significant originally business contribution or scientific, scholarly, business related contribution in the field. You have authored articles, professional journals, manuals, some type of what they call white pages, plans, processes, systems. You have authored, you have, you know, led the team to author those manuals, those principles, those systems, you know, SOPs that is being used in your field, right? That have received some type of use in your area. So now, and then for those who are in the artist industry, your work has been displayed, you played a leading role, you command a high salary. That's also a big thing. So you have a salary. Like yesterday I spoke with a potential client. Let's say you are an engineer, and the average engineer is, you know, we have this, it's everywhere, like level 1 engineer, they say they make 70,000, and you are there, you're making 300,000. That's, you have commanded a high salary. Even if you're making 100, you know, it's more than 70,000. So you have to choose those three to meet those three out of these 10, and then they're gonna be an issue of, okay, how can you sustain a national acclaim, national, international acclaim, and the potential use of your skills? And that's why where your attorney is gonna come in and, you know, make your case look or qualify, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's the EB one. EB2. So this for professors. So there's some things, and I'm not gonna get into big for professors, but people, you know, and researchers. So they need researchers and they need professors. And for that, you know, yes, you have to, you can, it's not a self-petition, you have to be petitioned by the institution, but they don't have to go through the hoops that they would normally go through, meaning the employer, of you know, advertising and searching the market and getting a labor certification for. So they don't have to go through all that, because they need professors and researchers. And there's, you know, all this, you can read, you have to show all this, also all these 3 out of the 10 as well. And So this one, you have to have a job offer from the US. Like I said, it's an institution of higher education or private employer, right? So, and you will be working in the area, in your field. So that's it. Number EB1B. So EB1C, I'm not gonna get into this because that's multinational managers. So that pertains to, let's say you have a in the STEM area, and then you create a company in your home country, and the company becomes big, and then you want to open a branch in the United States. So that's where you can use this. So there's different requirements for that, and go ahead and read through this. I will leave the link under whenever I do save this video, and then you can use that, right? So the EB1C is for multinational managers and executive. Okay, so now EB2 advanced degree for professionals and person with exceptional ability. So that's sometimes under the exceptional ability or the national interest waiver, right? So there is two requirements: to either have a bachelor's degree or no degree, like you have exceptional ability that can be quantified in those, again, they go through over those 10 out of those 10 criteria, and then you can show the exceptionability of your skills. Or you have an advanced degree, you have a master's degree, and you just need to show that. So you don't need to show exceptional ability, you just need to show you have a master's degree, right? And the master's degree does not have to come from the United States. It has to be equivalent to a US master's degree in your field. So again, you have to make sure you don't have to be here in the US to benefit from this. A master's degree anywhere has been equivalent, has been evaluated to be equivalent to a US degree, the US master's degree. So there are institutions, there are entities that are qualified to do the evaluation of your credentials. You have to show that. And then once you have showed like you have a master's degree or you have exceptional ability, then you are able to show that, okay, it would be in the national interest to waive, because the waiver, the labor certification and the employer sponsorship, the job offer, because of not only your area is in the national importance, right? And STEM, since STEM is in the national importance, anything that's in the STEM is in the national importance because they are needing more people in the science, technology, engineering, and math, right? So, but you have to show what field you have to determine. You have to be able to determine which area of national importance or areas of national importance, and then you have to show you are well placed to help in those areas, to provide solutions, to provide skills. How do you show you are well placed? Is to show your past accomplishments, right? And your interest from the US entities or from the nonprofit entities or from any international other company, under other entities in other countries. And you have to show that it's really by being hired or by obtaining a green card, this will not hinder the employment in the United States. Instead, actually, you don't have to show economic success. But you need to show, okay, even if I'm not bringing money right away, because research sometimes or technology takes time to kind of generate revenue, but you have to show the potential of actually, if this plan, sometimes you have to have like a personal statement or a business plan, or you have to show like interest in the companies, like you are being hired. I tell people always have a LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, we've had this LinkedIn. So it's social media is not only for Instagram and pictures and stuff, or Facebook. LinkedIn is our professional social medium, and that exposes you to different entities, to different potential employers, potential collaborators, potential people who will be interested in your skills, and how they always search your profile, and you have to have a very good profile on LinkedIn, and then you can see how many people are approaching you to work with you. That will show, okay, there's interest in the US entity by US entities, so there's a potential for of the use of your skills in the STEM fields, right? Okay. Right, so then the EB3 skills, and the EB2, by the way, and there's also part of employment. So a US employer can always petition for you. That's part of the labor certification. Same as the EB3 for skilled workers. Like I said, for the skilled workers, so you don't have to really, so you don't have to have so the STEM do not necessary for under the worker classification, because it's not STEM. They have a bachelor's degree. EB3, you don't necessarily need to have a bachelor's degree. You can have less than a bachelor's degree. You can be in other fields. So EB3 skilled workers, like for example, they need truck drivers here. They do need them, but you need to have a company to sponsor you in that position, in that skilled worker. That's an example I'm giving. There are so many other examples. Okay, so so this is a pathway to immigrating to the United States using the STEM. So again, and then let's go back here and look at the other. So what if now ready to immigrate? How can you? What is the non-immigrant pathway? The non-immigrant, meaning it's temporary. How can you get even into the STEM, right? That's where we go here on the non-immigrant pathway, STEM employment. And we have, the easy way, or actually not the easy way, no, like the entry into the STEM. Let's say now you have at least a high school diploma, or you have another degree, but you think, oh, you know what, I need to get into the STEM. I need to get into science, technology, engineering, and math, because that's the future, or that's what's needed now. Okay, how do you do it? And how can you do it in the US? So you get to in F1 status. So F1, which is student. So you come as student, you study. At the end of your study, or even actually during your study, there's what's called CPT. So CPT is not talked about a lot. It's during your study, you can get, as long as you are going to be employed by the companies that qualify for the CPT program, you can get the curricular practical training, right? So meaning you can 20 hours of your studies can be converted into employment, and that will be part of your study, right? Like you are practicing, you are putting in practice what you're learning. So, but at the end of the OPT, and by the way, I did a OPT type of employment in my video on YouTube. Go ahead and check it out. I'm not gonna go into this here, but stay here now. So you have OPT practical training, right? So everyone who graduates with a degree, any degree, associate degree, a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, you get OPT. So your degree, you can say, okay, I'm coming here, and once I finish my associates, I'm gonna take a 1-year break maybe and get an OPT. So you can get 12 months optical for optical training. So so you can work for those 12 months. Again, you don't have to work for certain employers. You can even self-employ if you can, right? So go back after you finish watching this, watch my last video on OPT and how you can self-employ. All right, so now once you finish your bachelor's degree, or even if you finish your associates, if you qualify for OPT, if it's a STEM and you qualify for the 24 months, you can go ahead, but I would advise you to finish your bachelor's and then get your 12 months. And if you work with a qualifying employer, you can apply for another 24 months in an OPT STEM extension. So STEM programs, they have a 24 months of work authorization extension in addition to 12 months. That means they have 36 months. And I have talked about in the previous video how these 36 months, you can use them that when you come out of those 6 months, you can go back and self-petition, as we talked about, the EBA or the B2 NIW, right? So another visa that's, you know, a common in all is H-1B specialty occupation. So you get an employer to sponsor you. There are 65,000 visas available, and an additional 20,000 for master's degrees, US master's degrees. So you know, this one is kind of, sometimes it's discouraging because there are only few visas available, and there's so many applicants. It's a lottery. So yeah, that's so. And if you don't get H-1B, you may qualify for O1 extraordinary ability, or, you know, which is a visa for people of extraordinary ability. So if you are not ready to go, or if you get an employer to sponsor you, say, okay, first I want to work, and then I will be able to do the EB1 extraordinary ability green card. You can go by the O1 if you qualify for O1 and you have all the skills in the STEM. And USCIS has provided a detailed guidance regarding the O1 for STEM. They have provided examples and relevant examples and considerations, because sometimes the way the regulations were set up, it was more rigid. So they have provided more examples of how documentation you can provide to prove one of those 10 criteria I talked about. So it's here. And again, I will leave the link. So what you can provide, for example, published material includes a brief citation or passing reference. So you can, they can focus on the work of your work instead of yourself, like I said, because sometimes people say, okay, I'm doing research, but I'm doing research under my professor's, you know, supervision. The professor will be the one who's going to be the face of the research I'm doing. So they will also consider that, okay, yes, in the real life, when you are researching and you are a student, you are not the face of the research. So you won't be, you will not become the first author, or you will not be your name will not be published in the paper or in the journal. It will be your professors, right? So they recognize that happens, but you did the work. So if you can get letter of reference or letter of recommendation from a professor attesting to that, then that will be a documentation to prove your like you qualify under this prong. And I talked about membership IEE, right? So they give examples. Membership of IEEE, so Institution of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. And like the federal level, you know, if you are a member and you are in a fellow, for example, so they have a membership grading of who qualifies for what, then we'll be able to show that, like, there's this association of advancement of artificial intelligence, right? So they will give examples of how you can prove your extraordinary ability, which is, like I say, it doesn't have to be like you are, you know, the best of the best. You are among a small percentage, but you don't have to be the best of the best, right? All right, so the H1 intra-company transferee, I mean, I don't know why they put that in the STEM, again, unless you want to do a new business, which that's a topic for another discussion, or you come here for an L1B as a specialized knowledge worker, which requires to have an employer. So let's see what they talk about STEM. All right, so yeah, you can open a new business, by the way, but it has been difficult to get L1 new office approval. So, and there's a TN. TN is a Mexican and Canadian nationals. They can qualify for the TN. TN now is no longer the NAFTA, right? Which is the North American Free Trade Agreement, but it's now US-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement, USMCA. I don't know how they call it, like USMCA. No, I don't know. Don't ask me. But yes, so if you are a national of citizen of Mexico or Canada, you qualify for TN. You still need an employer to employ you, but you can come and qualify because to work in a professional. There's TN professionals. There's also what it's called the management consultant. Yeah. So so there's other thing they didn't provide here is the entrepreneur parole, right? So let's say you had a consultation last week with a great there are some great people like with great minds and great ideas. So the entrepreneur parole is also I guess it's also available, although it's parole. It's not a visa, but it gives you 2.5 years, and then it can extend to 2.5 years. And under the NIW, let me see, the national interest waiver. I wanted to go back to the immigrant one. Okay, let's go here. Under this one, where are you? The national interest waiver, USCIS. Okay, I'm going back. The national interest waiver, yeah, the national interest waiver, right? USCIS has added the guidelines to include entrepreneurs, because I was among the people who kind of said, well, this entrepreneur parole is, I mean, it's interesting. However, you're asking people to come or companies or investors to come to take interest in this person because of their entrepreneurship ideas and skills. Even that person to kind of invest in their ideas, even they have to invest some type of percentage, but it's parole and it's only renewable one time. It's 5 years, and we all know, everybody who has a business know, like really for the business to flourish, I mean, unless maybe it's in the tech industry. So 5 years is really the trial period. So now you're giving them up to 5 years, and at the end of 5 years, where they're starting to kind of realize their profits, realize the benefits of what they've been working for, then you say, oh, sorry, but this is not a visa, and that's it. So so there were now, I think now USCIS, or the US government, has understood that, okay, now you can actually convert that into either EB1, extraditability, or the national interest waiver, self-petition. So that's also something to consider, right? So, I mean, I thank you, whoever's gonna follow, and I like to share this, so it's good to share. Okay, now I'm gonna stop sharing. Thank you so much. I don't think I have any questions. I've been looking, I don't see any questions at all. I don't see anybody. But hey, whenever you get a chance, come and check this out. It's useful information, and I like to share. So have a good weekend. Have a good end of the week, and enjoy your weekend. And please, again, I'm Claudine Umuhire Gasana, immigration attorney in the United States. And don't forget to share and comment, or like or dislike. However, like, give me your feedback. I need your feedback to know if what we do, it's kind of worth it. And yeah, okay, you have a good day.